All right, ATL brought out the nice chairs for us. Shout out to the Hawks, man. Let's make some noise for the Hawks one time. The show 2 times for y'all. We appreciate y'all pulling up. 1 time for the 1 time. It's Club 520 live in the ATL, man. Young Nacho back home, man.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't see no 00 jerseys. I appreciate that. It's a rough time in my life.
The PTSD jerseys?
Yeah.
For sure, man. But listen, this is Club 520. I'm the host. My name is DJ Wells. We got some special guests with us, man. Honoring the legendary team in the NBA, especially for the Hawks history, man. To my immediate left, we're going to introduce my man's last. But to my far left, my dog, Bishop B. Hen out the Pearlies. How you what, Nasty?
What's happening, man? ATL, thank you.
Hey, he don't even sound the same at ATL. You know what? Shout out to my, he got the 0 jersey. Turn me up.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, there we go. That ain't 00, right?
No.
All right, cool. There we go. For sure. To my right, y'all know what it is, man. ATL's finest, Young Nacho, Young Teague. How I feel to be back in the A, man?
I feel great, man. It's always home. My favorite place to ever play. So I'm glad I can have my guys show up with us today. I'm actually really happy about this. We've been trying to get Paul on the show. I wanted to get Kyle. Kyle's my guy, so to be able to do this live with y'all, this is great.
For sure, man. Shout out to the Hawks one more time for making this wonderful situation happen, man. Most definitely. Shout out to y'all as well for pulling up. But last but most certainly not least, man, to my left, man, we got 2 Hawks legends in the building, man. Both in their own right had amazing NBA careers, man. With no further ado, man, we got Kyle Korver and Paul Millsap in the building. Appreciate y'all sliding on us, man. For sure. Like we said, we're going to highlight that wonderful year, man. Obviously, y'all had many good years here, but that was a really special one. But before we get into that year, we got to talk about how y'all all came together, because obviously, Nacho, you was already a Hawk. Mm-hmm. Paul, Kyle, y'all came from different situations. Let's talk about how y'all got to being an Atlanta Hawk.
Well, I guess I'll start. Yeah, I was in Utah. You know, I spent 7 years in Utah, had some great years in Utah. And then, you know, it was time to go. Okay. And, you know, I was looking for a place to be closer to home in Louisiana. Me and my wife actually were looking at homes, you know, in Atlanta, Houston, Dallas areas. So we wanted to move back somewhere. And the Hawks offered me a 2-year deal, and the rest was history.
Most definitely. Kyle, man, how'd you become
Hawk? I played with Paul in Utah for a couple years, and then was in Chicago, and then was with Derrick Rose when he was MVP.
Chill.
Yeah. But then, you know, things happened. Had to get traded. I knew that I was going to be on the move. It's funny. I was driving with my wife. We drove from New Jersey. I don't know why we did this. We drove all the way to Santa Barbara, and on the way, we knew we were going to get traded somewhere, and we were like looking around what teams it was going to be, and we got all the way to Santa Barbara, and I got a call from Danny Ferry saying I had to fly all the way back. We like drove across the country, got there, went to the airport, and flew all the way back to Atlanta. And it was funny thinking back about it now. We stayed at the Ritz-Carlton downtown, and Danny Ferry came down that morning and asked me to come to the table and talk to him. And I thought it was going to be like a welcome to the Hawks moment. And he was sitting there debating with the doctor if he was going to accept my physical or not. Wow.
The real
right
Mark
in front
Williams.
of me. He's like, I don't know, this guy's been, I had a foot injury the year before, and he's like debating if he was going to accept this thing. And I'm like, man, should I be sitting here? Should I like walk away? And he decided at the last second, he's like, all right, we're going to do it. Welcome to the Hawks. And I was like, okay. So how did I get to the Hawks? That's how I got to the Hawks.
The physicals around NBA real tricky right now, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, for you was already here with a different regime, obviously. New culture, new situation. How was that welcoming them to the team?
I probably wasn't the best at welcoming people to the team. I didn't talk much. So when I met Paul, he just came in, what's up? You know, he don't talk a lot either, so he like, what's up, bro?
It's going to be a great podcast.
Yeah. What's up, bro? That's all he gave me was a head nod. What's up, bro? And Kyle, y'all see Kyle, he lights up a room, he comes in, what's up, brother? I thought he was like a surfer kind of guy, so I'm like, what's up, cool dude? Like, but he was super cool, super chill, and it was easy. They was easy to work with.
That's crazy. I mean, before we get past this point, we got to talk about Kyle, man. You got one of the legendary picks in the NBA, man. You with the Jordan zone. Has that ever came across your timeline recently?
What's that again?
You got the rookie pick, you got the J zone, and everybody's like, dang, we thought he was a surfer, but you had the heat on your feet. Please revisit that pick for us.
I swear, it's like there's a date on the calendar where that picture has to come back on the internet every single year. It's
definitely.
like 2 pictures. That's one of them. But yeah, man, that was All-Star Weekend. You got to come with something, right?
For sure. A little bit different All-Star Weekend now, for sure.
That's the truth.
My fault, I'm petty, y'all. But listen, man, legendary season start off, man. First of all, who was coaching that team at the time?
Mike Budenholzer, Coach
Yes, sir.
Bud.
Coach Bud,
Yeah.
your man.
Yeah, that was my guy.
Oh, yeah, you can clap it up for Bud now.
You clap for Coach Bud.
Shout out to Coach Bud. That's the homie for sure.
Yeah. Coach Bud was cool. When he first got here, I didn't like him. Not to say it like that, but we ended up becoming really good friends. But
For real.
we played the ISO style, before they got here. We had Joe. Everybody played one-on-one basketball. I don't know if it was the best brand of basketball, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And he came in and changed all that. And for me, it was my time to shine. I thought I just had got the team. Like, it was my first year really about to start. And he was like, nah, we don't play that way no more. I was like, he hating. so after that, we didn't start off on the best foot. Right?
Yeah, no, me and Bud, we kicked it off pretty good, our first time meeting each other. For me, I was just evolving into, a more high volume player. And Bud kind of brought that out of me. He actually reached out to me a couple weeks ago, when I officially decided to retire. And he said, congratulations. And I was like, I appreciate everything that you've done, because he helped bring that, whatever it was that I had, out of me. And, definitely appreciative for that.
Most definitely, man. And congratulations as well, man, on retirement for sure, man. Yeah, for sure. There we go. Show some love.
Congratulations, man.
Now, before we get into the season, me and B here got to talk because, this our mans. This our mans from the day one. So, naturally, we got to hate. And y'all was our favorite team to hate on, man.
Yeah, y'all was, man. I ain't fool with y'all like that. I'm going to keep it real. I was supporting my guy, but I was like, how do they keep winning, man?
Who did you root for at that time?
I was really just a player. Like, Carmelo Anthony was my favorite player. But me and him, it was deeper than y'all. Like, he made me not like him. Like, he used to come back to the crib, Cal Korver shoot better than everybody in the league. Cal Korver shoot better than Ray Allen. Like, man, I can't say it on here, but y'all know what, Korver. But nah, I just used to be like, dang, bro, really leading the Hawks. Like, and I honestly thought that y'all could have made a for real run, but I had to hate because that was just our beef for real. But I didn't see y'all winning all them games.
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was always real beef, though.
They call us the Little Giants. You ever seen that movie? That's what they call me every day. Y'all was the Little Giants, man. Y'all had y'all one shot.
Then y'all went on that crazy run, but, shout out to y'all. Y'all did y'all thing for sure.
For sure, man. We ain't going to get too far ahead of ourselves, but starting that season off, y'all started off 500, 5-5. Initial thoughts on that? Like, are y'all trying to figure it out or just get used to new players, new tutelage with Bud, every day, new systems? Or did y'all know we had something special, we just got to get there?
I don't know that we knew that we were going to end up with the season that we had. And I think that our group had been in the works for a couple years, and that's really how these really good teams happen. It never just all comes together. There's very few instances in the NBA where a bunch of moves are made, and now we have a super team and they're going to take off. That's happened, but it's not very often. And I think what we had all been doing, it was just really trusting the process. And Paul had been there for a couple of years now. I've been there a couple of years. Jeff, you'd been there, but we didn't really add anything new that was going to put us over the top. And so we started off, like you said, we started off 500, but our style of play, our chemistry kept on building, and then we end up in later on in the spring going a whole month without losing, and we're like, wow, I think we're good.
I thought I was gonna get traded when we started off. They probably got to move me. I'm not mixing in pretty well, but we just got in a groove, and when we got in that groove, it was over with. Our defense was connected, our offense was connected, and it was times out there during that year we didn't even get to play the fourth quarter, and it messed up my stats.
Still made an all-star team.
Barely.
Who was the vocal leader on that team, though? Who had the biggest
It wasn't me.
mouth on the team?
It wasn't me.
Because clearly all three of y'all is quiet. So
That's funny because Bud always tried to get somebody to be super vocal, one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
And neither one of us, really had it in us. So each one of us would say something every now and then, and we'll put our input in.
Yeah.
But Bud was the vocal leader.
Okay.
At that time.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't say a word. Kyle talk. He talks a lot. You and Al.
So y'all used to just kill people and not say nothing to nobody. Nobody talk crazy to the opponent or nothing. Not even nobody on the bench used to talk crazy.
Dennis.
Dennis, yeah.
Most definitely.
Dennis talk crazy to us. Didn't get about those Uno games yet.
Oh, no. I took that. Oh, this is just a sidebar. I took that Uno game, and we have them at our house all the time.
Really?
That come from you? Ultimate Uno?
Us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know where you got that from.
It was more intense in the Uno games than on the court, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's how it is now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say y'all are responsible for a lot of random disagreements, maybe baby fist fights outside the Club 520 due to Ultimate Uno. So thank y'all for that. We appreciate that footage for sure. That's crazy. The fact that y'all were really that like kind of just monotone with just killing. But you talked about the makeup of that team and stuff. But also shout out to Al. Al's still hooping. Ain't that crazy?
Super crazy.
Still hooping.
Still winning championships. Go
He's super good still.
So it's just Al and Dennis from that team still playing?
Yeah.
Man.
Damn.
Dang, we fizzled out pretty fast.
That would be real quiet.
Hey, you know it's bad when the crowd got like a deathly quiet, like R&B. That's crazy. For sure, man. Well, listen, y'all caught y'all stride. January, historic month. Like basically, y'all entire team was player of the month. How was that feeling? Y'all all killing. Y'all all getting the recognition from that. I know that has to feel good in the locker room for sure.
I don't think either one of us cared. You know, at that time, I don't think we cared that much, right? We were so in the zone in the process of winning that none of the stats and accolades actually mattered. You know, it's after the fact. You know, when the career's over with, I look back and say, this probably will never be done again. You know, it's an amazing accomplishment, especially when you got four. You got four teammates. You know, as all-stars. Probably will never be done again.
Yeah, let's talk about that All-Star bid, man. Listen, 4 teammates into the All-Star situation. How do y'all find out about that? Because I know some made a little bit earlier than us. Like, what's that like when y'all find out that all y'all going to be representing the squad?
I didn't know that all of us was gonna make it. I was just worried about me. I was over there praying.
That's real.
Nah, but I knew Paul would make it. He was having a great year.
Most definitely.
And I knew Al was gonna make it. He had already been making them anyway, so I knew them two were gonna make it. So I didn't know if I would make it, and I didn't know if Kyle was gonna make it. But I was excited for us.
Kyle, what's that feeling like when you find out you're gonna be representing the squad?
It was pretty wild for me. Like I never saw myself as an all-star player. Like I always wanted to be the piece that like made a team go and someone that you really wanted to be, you know, that you could count on, depend on. I wanted to be that perfect teammate. So I never really looked at myself as being like that. So I think with the beauty of that team, man, is like we all made each other better.
For sure.
And that's really the hallmark of the good teams to me is when everyone is looking at each other and it's not about me, it's how can I make the guy next to me better. And the beauty of that squad was we were talking about words, we talked on the court, we talked in nods and winks and looks. And that's what made us special. Is we didn't have to communicate yelling at each other. We was I looked at you and looked at Al and I knew we were gonna run wide.
Yeah.
You know, it was just we had this kind of sixth sense to us, and that's really what made that team special and what made it so fun to play on.
Definitely. That's the problem now with me coaching basketball.
Yeah,
I think I got Kyle.
Just wink and make eye contact.
I think they can do that. They look at me like, you all right? You about to pass out, coach? I'm like, nah.
Yeah, Kyle Korver's not walking through that door, Pike. Shout out to Pike for sure.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was happy. You know, I had teammates going to the All-Star game with me. You know, I don't mess with the other guys, man. I didn't care about all that. You know, but to have my teammates with me, you know, going to the All-Star games, it definitely meant something. And on top of that, but I was angry because Damari didn't make it.
Yeah.
You know, and Damari was my guy. You know, Damari, everybody knows was the engine guy. You know, he was the glue guy. You know, he did a lot to help us win, and it just sucks, you know, to see that he didn't be a part of that moment. You know what I mean? So, you know, for me it was a bittersweet moment, but definitely was glad I had my other guys with me.
I was gonna ask that question on a sensitive topic would be if everybody on the starting five make that All-Star team, but you don't.
He got paid though that next summer.
That's what.
I think I had my spot.
Be a legend at the bank.
Nah, that's what it's about. Did y'all used to ever run a special play that y'all knew couldn't nobody stop? Or
The
did
entire
y'all just
system
free for all?
cheating?
I remember we had some go-to plays. I don't know.
I was just asking because Jeff be trying to get his players to run. Some of those
Most
plays
of them was
don't
to
work
Cal.
out.
You know, when Cal Korver came off a screen, he had the whole building looking at him.
Yeah.
You know, and when he made that, either he had an open shot or he made the pass down. I mean, we got that every single time. Every single time.
Yeah, that was easy. Like, I remember it's a video going around where I think you scored, 11 points in like a minute or something like that. You're like this crazy heat check. And I just remember, like, we used to just throw you the ball anywhere. Like, you be running around. I'm like, he gonna shoot it. It's good.
Yeah.
Like, every time I never really thought you were ever gonna miss. Like, when you missed, I was more like surprised. Like,
Yeah.
you missed?
Yeah. But I think, you know, and we're sharing the love here, which I think is great.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I was a product of how we played.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I remember you and Kenny Atkinson watching so many clips of that, like, why, like, when exactly does Kyle want to have the ball? And where does he want to have it? You remember that?
Yeah.
In that back little gym over there. Like, and you would watch it, and then we'd come talk about it, and we'd watch it, and we'd come talk about it. And, like, the screens and all the movement, like, it was just perfectly set up for me. So, yeah, it was wonderful, man. I love coming off all those screens. It was fun.
What's the most threes you hit in the game that season? You remember?
8.
Oh, okay.
So it's a whole new world out there now, man.
Yeah. They getting
He's
them
not
up
that
there
many.
now.
You would have had to shoot 15.
Yeah, yep,
You think you'd have been able to rock out in this league today?
for sure.
Yeah, okay. I had to ask you. I had to heat check you. I had to heat check you, Cal.
So go talk, Kyle. Before we go further in the season, for y'all being his teammates, how is it like to see him now? Like, because obviously, you know, he didn't really talk too much. To see him on this platform, is that like a big
Man that
surprise?
doesn't talk has a podcast now. Is that what you're saying? Like,
Crazy,
the last
right?
time I saw Jeff, he was a scout for us, and then the next day he had a podcast, and it was like nationally ranked. Like, I'm like, okay, Jeff, tell all them stories.
No, man. I don't know.
I'm definitely not surprised. I mean, Jeff talked when in the right situations, you know, with the right topics. Get him in that, and you know, he'll spill whatever. So, you know, I'm not surprised, but definitely, you know, congratulations to all y'all, man.
appreciate
for what y'all
that.
done.
Appreciate it.
Love.
For sure. Like you said, y'all go into the All-Star break, you know what I'm saying? Now it's time to, all right, real thoughts.
Can I say something about that All-Star game, though? Y'all remember how cold it was in New
It
York?
was so cold. I was talking to my wife about that this morning.
It was awful.
It was like negative 30 degrees.
Like, it was so bad.
It was cold.
I just remember my room service. I told this story about my nephew. I had this room service bill that was like $8,000, right? Yeah, I was saying the same thing. And I guess he thought he was on Home Alone. So he was just ordering everything. And I remember going to the about to check out, and I seen Bud, and we was running kind of late. And Bud was like, I got it all. I got everything. And I looked at him, I said, woo. Good luck. I walked to that bus so fast.
Funny thing about that, his nephew is now working off his debt at 520, so he's still covering that bill for sure. Shout out to Malcolm. But like you said, man, have a crazy All-Star breaking down. It's back to the season. At this point, y'all locked in. Y'all feel like it's time to contend. What's that process like? All right, we got a chance to really make some noise now.
Say it again. I couldn't hear it.
Oh, my fault. I said, okay, so now after All-Star break, everything's copacetic. Y'all playing good. It's not a surprise anymore. It's like, all right, do y'all have championship aspirations? Like, what's that lock in like? Or like, all right, we here, we can do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the goal. You know, I think we had a moment. I remember looking at the standings a couple weeks after All-Star break, and we were like 13 games ahead of whoever was in second place. Mm-hmm. Like, we were so far ahead, and I think there was this whole mindset of like, okay, how do we prepare ourselves to really get into a playoff run? And a lot was based on like, let's be fresh and let's be healthy and let's have our minds right. And so that's kind of where we were going, right? Like trying to prepare ourselves to be fresh. I thought that in that stretch, you know, a lot of what made us great was just like our edge and how connected we were. And I thought a little bit of like in that next month and a half or so, we lost a little bit of that, if I'm being honest, where it's just like we were just so far ahead of everybody. And, I don't know, we lost a little bit of that, whatever was making us really, really tick going into the playoffs.
Yeah, we started like subbing 5 in and 5 out. And it was kind of weird. I remember Paul got mad one day. He was like, man, we can't play like this. Like, I can't catch a rhythm. I just remember that because Bud was subbing 5 in, 5 out. And that's when my stats started hurting. No, but I was just, like you said, we took our foot off the gas a little bit. But I just remember LeBron at the All-Star game saying to me, like, I'm going to figure y'all out. And I was like,
the whole league was studying what we were doing.
I was like, we don't even know what we're doing. Like, we're just playing. And he was like, no, y'all got something going on. I'm gonna figure it out. When I figure it out, I'm gonna get you. And I was like, we don't know, bro. I was like, we just be playing. And he was like, nah, he sure figured it out.
He did do that.
Yeah, I think that whole stretch, I think, I don't want to speak for Bud, but was for us to try to, we knew who we were going to face at some point, right? So we knew exactly who we were going to play and, what was going to be our best lineups, what was going to be our best plays, our best strategy, going up into that moment. So that whole time was pretty much like a figuring out process. And like Jeff said, it didn't work. But I think that we had moments, I don't want to get too far ahead.
No, do your thing.
But, even during the course of the season where we knew that whether it's one play or 2 plays that we took our foot off the gas that, could have elevated us to the next level, right? And sometimes it'd be like that, especially in this league is, 1 or 2 plays can kind of throw your rhythm off within a game, within a season, within a playoff series. And, we had a couple of those. We were able to shake back a few times, but, somehow we just had too many going into that back season.
It's interesting that you say that because I'll take it to a February game y'all had against Golden State. And I remember, that kind of a little bit of foreshadowing, but the way y'all played against them was just like, oh, they can do this against anybody.
Yeah.
And like that adaptive style, I'm not saying it's direct correlation, but how y'all played the free moving basketball, like kind of similar. It was like, oh, they can do this against anybody. Now it's up. So to hear you say that, then what transpires after that's very interesting for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at Golden State and how they played, and we wanted to be the Eastern Conference type of Golden State Warriors team at that time. We had Korver, who we considered the best shooter in the league, and we ran a lot of stuff through Kyle. Kyle was a big part of our offense because he's dangerous behind the 3-point line. And that opened up a lot of windows for myself, Jeff, and everybody else. And but when that shut down, what were our next options? And I think those are kind of the things we struggled with at that time. What else are we going to do? Do we have a counter for the counter? And and LeBron figured it out and shut it down, and those type of things took us out of our rhythm.
For sure, man. But I want to talk about what I'm saying before we get to that part where y'all was still killing. The city was really behind y'all. Obviously, Atlanta has a great fan base. The Hawks had some up and down years. Y'all had some good years before with Joe, Josh, and obviously, but the city was really behind y'all. Like the way you even see, like you just go to a Hawks game, the opposing team might have had more in the crowd. That time period, nah, it was up in the city. What's that like feeling that love, on and off the court? Y'all in the city, y'all still killing on the court too.
Yeah, I was in the city, so I used to, they didn't go out.
That boy was outside.
I was outside. So I got a chance to see the people talk to you like, man, we love what you guys are doing. They was excited about our team. And then the fans, like the arena used to be lit. Like every time Kyle hit a 3, you hear 3 and all that stuff. It was lit. Even Dennis, when they used to say got him and all that stuff, it was just, the time was just amazing. That year was unbelievable. And I had been here already for, I think, 5 or 6 years by then. The crowd, I was like, man, it's just, I haven't played in front of the crowd like this yet. And it was lit every game.
He represented well for y'all outside, Cal.
Oh man, my man. No, I think when I first got here, there was some criticism of like, what's the atmosphere like at the games? Mm-hmm. And in the middle of that season, when everything turned, like what they said, this place, it was so fun to be at these games, man. And everything that you guys have built now is just added on to that as far as the experience. But like, there was a real appreciation, I think, what I felt for like how we played the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like the intention of like, the players trying to make each other better, playing a certain style, even overachieving to a certain, like we all knew, like, this is a group that needs each other, and there was like the purists in Atlanta like came out, and everybody loved it and enjoyed it, and it was a team that I loved to play on. It was a team that was fun to root for, just because of the posture everyone had towards the actual style of play that was happening out there.
Most definitely. So obviously, keep killing. You get to the playoffs. You talk about that environment. What's that first home playoff game like?
A breeze. We knew we was gonna win the first round. Like that was easy. I don't remember who we played.
Washington,
game 2.
Wasn't Washington, was it? No, it was Brooklyn, was it?
I don't know who we played. Who did we play?
We played Brooklyn.
It was Brooklyn? Okay,
We
shout out
lost
to
one of
my-
those games.
Yeah, but I knew like we knew we had.
Yeah, we
them.
knew we were gonna win.
I wasn't worried about them at all. The team I was worried about was like Washington. I think that's what we played next, right?
Played second round.
I was like, yeah, this might get a little tricky. My defense was never the best, and I was like,
That's prime John Wall, right?
yeah, I was like, we might DeMar, you might
John
have
Wall's
to,
really fast.
like DeMar, you might have to switch.
Hey, Washington was good that year.
Yeah, they were really
They were
good.
really good that year. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were good against teams that didn't execute well. You know, we were good against teams who didn't communicate on defense. And we just knew teams that we were going to beat because we were going to execute, right? And that first round was definitely one of those teams.
For sure, y'all handle business for sure. Like you said, y'all get it to Washington, you know what I'm saying? Different series, but y'all still prevail. And let's talk about that final matchup, you know what I'm saying? All chips on the table. What's that environment like preparing to go into that? Because you playing against LeBron.
I was excited. I was like, yeah, I think we can beat them because in the regular season we
did.
We beat them pretty good every time. And I was like, yeah. And I seen the first play, he ran a pick and roll with me. I was like, oh, that's what we gonna do the whole game? You gonna bring me in the pick and roll? I like, it's over.
So you knew then he figured it out.
Yeah, I was like, why you keep calling me up in the pick and roll? I was trying to get that switch. It was over. I was like, I can't guard LeBron. I couldn't guard Deli.
What you think went wrong, Cal?
It
Jeff
wasn't
is the
that.
reason why y'all lost.
It was not that. It was not that. It was not that. Just funny.
I was thinking Cal was gonna be like, well, yeah.
Nah, I ain't throwing my guy in the bus like that. It was not Jeff. You know what? I mean, we had some injuries too, right?
Yeah, the
Like,
like, definitely.
I mean, I feel like I didn't get to compete in that whole series, right? I got in the second game. But I mean, the playoff play as you play and you play in the regular season and you play in the first couple rounds and you play in the last couple rounds, they're all different, right? There's levels, and I think that was a group for them that they had, like LeBron had been through more of those third and fourth rounds. Like the third and fourth rounds are different. And that was our first time as a group going through that. And I don't know of any groups that go through it together the first time and get it right, right? So I think there's a whole lot of grace in my mind for that group. Like I thought that we showed like who we are, and I thought that we showed throughout the regular season, especially like what Paul said, like. And we actually beat them, I think, 3 of the 4 times, right? Yeah. But those late rounds are different, and it's something you have to just keep on experiencing and building on and adding to. And this is sport. It's what it is.
Well, definitely for the fans in here, obviously, who don't have that feeling. Obviously, playing at home, different environment. What's it like playing on the road in a high, like, intensity situation?
It's
Like,
the best.
It's the best?
It's the best. There's nothing in sport like silencing a home crowd. There's nothing like it. It is the best, and you know, there's a bunch of teams in this league that have great home crowds, but when you can silence a team in the playoffs, like it is the best.
Yeah.
It is. I thought we were gonna win Game 3. I remember that plays in my head a lot. I thought we won Game 3, and LeBron was LeBron.
He's good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's good.
Y'all was up. What happened?
We went overtime that game. He hit a 3 in the corner
Oh, okay.
and tied it up. I thought he caught a cramp. Magically, he came back. I'm like, I was like, caught a cramp. He done. No, he's back. We lost in overtime. I think Shelby might have got a shot to win the game or to tie the game, something.
Respect.
Yeah.
And granted, I mean, we we felt like we played okay, but they played exceptionally well.
They hit
They
every shot.
shot the ball
Historically.
You know, I remember the first quarter. I don't think they went on a run where they didn't miss a shot. I think they went on like.
Our defense was kind of who we said we was gonna let shoot.
I mean, J.R. Smith was knocking down shots. I mean, it was
Kevin
tough.
Love?
They got in a rhythm that, you know, in basketball, you get in a rhythm like that, you know, you have to stop it. You have to stop the rhythm.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just got ourselves, dug ourselves too big of a hole by not getting them out of that rhythm in the first or second quarter. And, you know, when you're on the road and you're up against a good team, you're up against LeBron James, it's tough to come back from that.
Yeah.
You know, but I felt like we definitely fought and we had opportunities to change the rhythm and change the dynamic of the series, and we just didn't capitalize on it.
You want to know something funny about that? You remember when JR started hitting those threes? Yeah. I came to the bench, was like, I got him. And I got on and he hit the next one. Kyle was like, I got him, I'll chase him, I got him. Kyle was like, okay. He came off a screen, hit another one. I was like, you go back over there. I don't know who I thought I was. I'm 5'10".
Funny that you mentioned that. You talk about the LeBron pick and rolls. There's a clip going around like LeBron demands that pick and roll from you like 4 or 5 times in a row. And at one point you just like, all right, bro.
Yeah, he kept doing it. I knew. I was like, they figured it out, trying to get the switch. Then we had the double. They was going to kick it out, get a 3. I was like, there's nothing we can do.
Most definitely. Obviously, you know, season came up a little bit short of expectations, but you guys had a hell of a season. Obviously, playing in different situations past that. How does it make, like, the memory of this team feel when you go back and be like, all right, I played different places after this, but the camaraderie we had this magical season still lives on?
Good.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I went to Denver after that. A lot of young guys, you know, but a lot of young, hungry guys. They were hungry. You know, all they needed was a little bit of mentorship to get them over the edge. But as far as locker room presence, I mean, I don't think there'll ever be another, you know, situation like we had in Atlanta anywhere else. You know, everywhere else, you know, guys are cool and whatever, but the bond just goes from there. You know, for us, you know, we knew each other's families. We went out to dinner.
Yeah.
You know, on the road, we had team bonding. You know, we went to the Braves, you know, stadium and played baseball, man. You know, as a team, you know, we did things like that, you know, when it gets on the court, it makes it a lot easier to gel with a team, you know. So, you know, there's not a lot of teams out there doing that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That team lives on in me. I'll just say that. Like, for me, it's almost like when there's someone that you admire in life and they pass away or something happens, and it's like you take what was great in that and you want that inside of you. Like, that's what that group is for me. Like, it was so pure. Like, I always tell, like, whenever I talk to kids about basketball, it's just always when they're younger, it's like, enjoy this, because the higher you go, it may be more rewarding, but it loses its purity.
Yeah.
And it's not often that you get to be around and be in a group in the NBA where, like, we were all about the right stuff. And like, a lot of, like, for me now, as we're working on building out the Hawks, like that, it's not necessarily the blueprint, but it is a North Star all the way. And you want to try to, you know, continue to add more talent and all those things, but like how that worked, like going back, just thinking back about how this team came together, it wasn't necessarily about adding a bunch of superstars and figuring it out. Like, you got really good humans who loved to work, who loved their craft, right? You got really, really good coaches, like the coaching staff that we had that year, like Coach Bud, it was Coach Bud, but then think about all the coaches we had. Quinn Snyder was there the first year, and then he left. We had you had Kenny Atkinson, you had Nevin, who's been a coach in Europe forever. You had Charles Lee, you had Taylor Jenkins, those are just head coaches who've been on the league. You got assistant coaches. Ben Sullivan's been a top assistant. You got Pat St. Andrews, you got Jordan Ott, who was in the video room. Like, these guys are all front of the bench coaches. Like, that's who was teaching us every day what it meant to play Hawks basketball. Right? So it's like, this is the formula for me. Like, I'm pulling from that year. Right? Like, that to me is like, again, yes, you add more talent, you try to find, hopefully you get a number 1 pick and he becomes an amazing player, but like this is the formula to me, and like, it lives deep in me. Like, I have like I have a real love of the game of basketball. Like it's what drives me. It's why I want to keep on working in this business. And that again is like a North Star. Like it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Like the bonds and the friendships that we have with these guys is real when we see each other. Like it is love. But when you go through heartaches and playoff series and you bond and you work, like there's things that happen in those moments that you can't get in any other way. And yeah, it's a group and a team that, like I said, like I will pull from the rest of my life.
Yeah, for me, as far as basketball on the court, I never went to a team that had that same synergy and energy together. You know what I mean? So I went to go play for the Pacers 2 years later, and like you said, I'm winking at guys, and they like, nah, bro, what you got going on? I'm like, cut back door. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I'm like, it just wasn't the same. Like I went there and I thought like everybody else were dumb basketball players after playing on that team. You know what I mean? Like we just read each other well. We knew everybody's movements. We knew where everybody was going to be on the court. And then going to these different teams, it wasn't the same. So I'm used to somebody setting a back screen so you can get a wide open jump shot. And they like, nah, beat him. Beat your man. I'm like, y'all don't like play together like, at all? Like, I got to run to the corner every time? Like, nah. So it just was a beautiful way to play basketball. I enjoyed that so much that I even try to, like I'm a coach now, I try to bring that same philosophy when we play. Move the ball, everybody get a chance to score. No go-to guy, but everybody can be the guy. And that was just a beautiful way to play.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off that, I mean, I don't know if everybody know that, you know, when in an NBA team, you spend more time with your teammates than you do your family. So we see each other every single day, right? And you don't get that feeling, you know, once you get up to the door and say, damn, I got to go to work again. I got to go in here again, right? You had people who you wanted to play with, people who understood you, and that's what made it so special, right?
Yeah, definitely. Now, Kyle, we talked about this off camera. Did you know that you was going to be the team's dietitian? Because, you know, some of your teammates, you know what I'm saying, they lived a different life, you know what I'm saying, in that kitchen.
Hey.
How many guys you say didn't drink water on the team?
Oh my gosh, man, we had guys that didn't drink water on our team.
One of those gentlemen is on stage.
Water. I'm like, you are an NBA basketball player. Your job is to run on a court. How do you not drink water? And like,
when did you start paying attention?
I don't like how
it
tastes.
I'm
like, I don't like how it tastes. It tastes like water.
Listen,
Gatorade. We have a few guys. One of them may or may not be on the stage. Wouldn't drink water. They're getting like IVs before the game. They're in the training room with like hooked up to an IV so they can play. I'm like, man, just drink this cup of water.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I couldn't believe you was living like that, Paul.
Oh, man. Listen, man. Legendary team, man. The city remembers you. The city embraces you. Shout out to everybody here, all here because of this very reason, man. You might want to answer that. Text time. Tap in. For sure. Are we opening it up to the crowd by chance? Okay. We'll open up to the crowd. We have a couple questions, a couple light questions before we get out of here. Anybody brave enough, my mans? No, you got your hands up.
Yeah, go ahead. We good.
Oh, wow.
It's on the way.
It's on the way, man. We're going to play. We're gonna get that game. We're going to get that game.
Yeah, we started the over-under right now. Please place your bets on DraftKings. Gentleman in the hat. Yes, sir.
I could start it. If you go look at our numbers, how many minutes we played, we didn't play high numbers of minutes. Like I think we played like 26 a game. I did, like around that time. So Dennis Schroeder.
Points per minute was great then, huh?
Yeah, I was killing. Dennis Schroeder was great. Even Shelvin Mack. Ken Bazemore came off that bench. It was a bunch of guys. Mike Scott, my guy. They had amazing seasons. Like that whole year, everybody played well. And we all just wanted everybody to win. It was crazy. Like he said, we'd be on a plane playing Uno and all that stuff. And those were my guys. I mean, me and Dennis, we used to go at it a little bit. But other than that, we love it. I love those guys.
Dennis was like because we were a pretty steady group, right?
Yeah.
Like Dennis was like the little brother
That you needed. Though.
that get under your skin, agitate you,
Yeah.
get you going, and he was a super important part of. We needed it, right? You needed guys like that. We needed guys like Elton Brand and Pero Antich and Mike Muscala, and I mean, there's so many guys who starred in their role for that group, and we're about the team. It's a long list. It was a great group.
Most definitely. Gentleman in the back, yes, sir.
I seen Bud at a concert. Yeah, he used to take his kids to all the concerts here, and I seen him, and they were having a good time. He didn't know any of the songs, but he was vibing out.
I'm scared to ask which artist it is, but
Yeah,
I
don't
know this is a
worry.
brand same kind. Yeah, we go.
We was rocking. We was messing up some commas that night. It was Future.
Oh, Bud went to go see Future?
Yeah.
Shout out to Bud. My God.
Sure did.
Oh, man in the front, yes, sir.
Would have loved to have known. 100%. 100%. There's injuries are part of this whole equation. It is every year for every team. There's a lot of things that have to go right to still be playing at the very, very end. And wish we could have had a full squad, but
For sure. And last one. Right here, my man in front.
Yeah. I like that.
That's hard.
Yeah, I like that. Matter of fact, I got. Oh, you grew up in Brooklyn.
Luis, pull it up.
Well, appreciate that.
For sure. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We want to say thank you all for pulling up. We appreciate y'all. Make some noise for yourselves.
Thank you.
For sure. 2 times for our wonderful guests up here. We appreciate Paul and Kyle pulling up. The Hawks appreciate the hospitality as well. We'll see y'all another time. Club 520.